My name's Sarah.
My name's Jules. We work at BBC Creative.
And we basically come up with ideas for and campaigns to basically advertise all of the shows and output of the BBC. So it could be anything from a drama or a documentary like Blue Planet to something that Radio 1 do or Radio 4. And we basically, our job is to make more people engage with the BBC.
So we're going to talk about how we really love working as a duo because we think it allows us to take more risks, and it also was much easier for us to get a job together as a pair.
So I'm Jules.
I'm Sarah.
And we're a team at BBC Creative. So we're going to talk to you today about why it's easier to get a job you love together. Because there was a time in both of our careers pre-knowing each other when we really never thought we'd have a job that we liked. So we'll just give you a bit of background about what we actually do at BBC Creative. So essentially we get to come up with ideas to make people want to watch, listen, or even just like the BBC. So on an average day, you might bump into Louis Theroux in the canteen, you might squeeze in next to David Attenborough in the lift, and you might have to kick Jarvis Cocker out of a meeting room. So it's not the worst. We're going to talk to you a bit about how we met, where it all began. So we met on the Watford course in 2015. The Watford course is an advertising course. It's kind of an intensive portfolio course where you basically get taught how to have good ideas. This is one of the questions that you had to answer to apply to it. So you can see kind of what we were up against. But luckily, kind of when we met each other on the course, we clicked instantly and we paired up pretty quickly, so that was all good. And we had a lot of fun on the course, and actually that was something when we were kind of partner searching and looking, trying to work out, across the classroom who we were going to partner with, that we really thought was important, having fun. And we had so much fun being students. We made a music video for Chins for Gillette. We did comedy sketches. We made foil tanning devices out of Tunnocks tea cakes wrappers. And we sold air to Londoners, which we're going to show you a little video of. But it was our real first kind of foray into working together, and it really taught us a good lesson about collaboration, that it's much easier to go out and make a complete idiot of yourself when you've got someone else by you. And somehow this got us a placement, so we'll just play it for you. But bear in mind, this is very dodgy, student quality filming and voiceover.
London, full of tourists and tourist hats, but we wanted to give them something different to take home.
Introducing the London Air Company.
That's not what I'm going to say.
Sorry if that video went on for a while, but we wanted you to see that we made 20 quid. That was a lot back then. So one of the most important lessons we learned when we were doing Watford was that to get a job, you need a placement, and to get a placement, you need a partner. And we learned that by spending a week in each of these places while we were on the course with the rest of our classmates. And it was a really good chance to kind of get an insight into what all of them were like, how much free food they gave you. But also there was quite a lot of pressure because at the end of every week they gave the best team a placement. And then when you're a student, you're presenting your, let's be honest, quite shit ideas to big creative directors. It can be really, really daunting and stressful. So having someone by your side and kind of like chipping in when you're getting it wrong or doing something that you shouldn't be was just really good and just gave us so much more confidence. And it didn't go too badly. We got placements in all of these different places by the end of the year. And like the general advice is when you're a student, when you're going into your first placements, is to go for a global big agency that wins loads of awards, because you're way more likely to get a job and you're way more likely to make work, which is what you really need to do at that stage. But instead we decided to go to BBC Creative, which is somewhere we'd never been before. In fact, hardly anyone had, because I think we were the second team ever to walk through the doors. It had only been open for 9 months, and it was basically a start-up, and no one had heard of it except like at least our mums kind of knew then where we worked. But I think the reason why we went to work there was because we kind of like had an experience of on our course kind of having a little dabble in selling like biscuits, toothpaste, which was so much fun. But an opportunity to kind of make campaigns for programs that we all love isn't going to come around every day. So we went for it. And I think that's another lesson we learned, because we never would have done that had we been on our own. We would have just gotten to a traditional ad agency. But yeah, it's easier to take risks when you're together. And luckily, it paid off, because in our first year we've made 4 campaigns already, and we thought we'd show you a couple of them if you don't mind. The first one, not only do we collaborate with each other, but especially at the BBC, we work with loads of different people. And this one, we actually worked with Paris Goebel, who's Justin Bieber's choreographer and director, and it was hilarious. And we made this music video together, and it was basically to get slightly older kids to think that CBBC was cooler. How do I play?
You have to go onto it and click it.
Oh, yeah.
Follow me, rock. Your sound is a
Whatever your vibe, find your tribe on CBBC.
And the next campaign we want to talk to you a little bit about was Sorry Not Sorry. Again, this was a collaboration with Mother Design, and they did all the visuals, which we really loved. And the campaign was to encourage young people to be unapologetic about who they are and about their identity. And we also worked with Toby Coulson, who did all the photography on that. And we actually learnt another lesson doing this, because the shoot for Sorry Not Sorry and the shoot for CBBC fell on the exact same day. And we realised that when you're in a creative partnership, you actually can be in 2 places at once. So we split, and it's just really nice having someone that you just completely implicitly trust, and you know that they're on exactly the same page as you. And you actually end up being able to do way more work, so that's good. And then finally, we're going to talk to you a tiny bit about Blue Planet, which we were really happy that they picked our idea, which was, so we found out that they know more about the moon than they know about the bottom of the deep blue sea. So we wanted to pair the excitement of going on a space mission with that of a diver going to the bottom of the sea. And this was actually a really hard sell because the BBC's pride and glory are their natural history programmes, and they never ever do a conceptual trail. This is the first one they ever did. So working with Jules to kind of persuade them to do that was like a massive lesson that definitely couldn't have done on my own. So
This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin can.
Blue Planet 2, coming soon to BBC One.
You carry on clicking. We basically just wanted David Attenborough in our presentation. But yeah, so we thought we were going to talk a bit about how we actually come up with ideas. And yeah, we've had quite a lot of time to think about this because we've actually spent 3,775 hours working together so far. So yeah, we've really thought, and yeah, our main kind of thing we really think is don't try and do everything. In our partnership, we feel like you really have to play to your strengths. You know, sometimes you might be working on 10 briefs at once and you will literally go mad if you don't divide the work in some way. So kind of in a traditional ad sense, Sarah is the art director, so pictures, and I am the copywriter, so words. But we always come up with the idea kind of together and craft it. So that's kind of how we work. And we just thought in the next slide we talk about the rest of the process. So when we get a brief, usually we go away, we probably spend about an hour brainstorming, then we come back and we chat about it. Usually, if the ideas are okay, they end up on post-it notes, much like this one. This was actually a kind of little thing we were doing for a brief for BBC News. And we have to be quite brutal about what makes it onto the post-it note, so we have a couple of rules. Rule number 1 is if you can't sum it up in 5 words, then it's out. Number 2, if you can't explain it to the other person or they're just not understanding it, it's also out. And number 3, if your parents wouldn't understand it, then it's probably out as well. So yeah, how it kind of works after that is I might write a script, then Sarah will kind of have a tweak of that, she'll write some more. We kind of go a bit to me, to you, to me, to you. That's why the Chuckle Brothers are there. And so, yeah, we kind of shortlist our ideas and then we won't put anything in front of a creative director or even, well, definitely not a client until we've both kind of seen it. And then from the art direction side, kind of once we've got our ideas a bit more firmed up, Sarah will kind of explore the visuals, look of it, and I'll also chip in with that. And we really think the kind of key to our collaboration is just constant communication. We're always kind of talking and chatting, and we really think that that's just so important. And it kind of having a partner, that's the whole point of being able to bounce ideas around. It usually always makes your ideas better. So our kind of, yeah, we think never underestimate the power of a good chat.
up next is We Are Never Ever Alone. And we've come to realise that this is actually a really good thing. So, say, for example, on your first day of your first job, there's no awkward kind of sitting on your own eating lunch. And it's also just way easier. We found it's just way easier to assimilate yourself into a new big group when you're starting somewhere, when you're in a pair. Just for some reason, people find us less scary as when we weren't together. And also, like, in our industry, there's a lot of setbacks. It's rejection after rejection. We probably have to write about 100 ideas before one gets bought, and then when that idea does get bought, we probably write about 20 scripts, and then one of those will get picked. But it takes forever, and there is a lot of rejection, and we just, it's good to have a Phil Mitchell shoulder to cry on. Sorry. But the best thing about being in a creative duo is when it does go right, you've got someone to celebrate with and go to the pub with, which is definitely the best thing ever. And then a con is no one ever knows who's who. We've worked with people for like a year and a half, and just the other day we were in a meeting and we got called the other names, and they were genuinely surprised when we told them it was the other way around. We got these T-shirts made, but sometimes we have to wash them. So we've just decided that instead of kind of seeing it as a negative, we're going to try and look on it as a positive, and rather than be individuals, which obviously we are, but we're going to just like focus on the uniqueness of us as a pair, because it's really important to be aware of what you bring to any job or any project you're working on that is different to what other people will bring. So say you're going for a job and there's the team that are really good at writing comedy, or the team that are really good at creating characters. You kind of have to focus on what you can bring. And for us, going back to what Jules said earlier about having fun, that is how we try and approach every brief we get given. Even if it's something serious like Sorry Not Sorry, we just hope that people, when they see their work, they feel slightly uplifted by it, even if it's serious. And that is all. And if you want to ask us any other questions that we haven't covered, our email address is on there. Thank you.
Thank you.